Awesome. Another great Friday. It's going to be a fantastic Friday. Looking forward to the weekend. We are going to have maximum effort today in how to stay focused every single week. Adam, Mark, I hope you guys are ready to get locked in terms of your discipline, your alignment, and your accountability. So this is part 3 of our webinar series that we're doing for the Founders Group. If you are a founder and you struggle with discipline and focus and week to week execution on the right priorities, this webinar is for you. So let's get started here. We're going to do a quick objectives overview of agenda as well. So the main objectives for us today, Adam and Mark, is really for y'all to connect with each other and collaborate. We're going to do that kind of through following the agenda. I really want to enhance the accountability, the alignment, and the execution. So Mark, whether it's a one-person size organization or 1,000 people, alignment and accountability and execution is crucial. Getting all your thoughts focused in the right direction. And then finally, Adam, commit to it. Like, let's be disciplined. Let's have ruthless discipline every single week. So in terms of how, what are we going to do today? This is how we're about to do the next 45, 50 minutes. We'll do a quick check-in here in a second. I want to hear from each of you. We're going to do some context. I'm going to explain the what, the why, and the how of meetings. And then specifically, we'll look at next steps and conclude and do a quick checkout. So just kind of thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up and nod your heads if you guys can, if these are the right objectives and agenda. Is this the highest and best use of your time today?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds
Mark?
good.
Great. Okay, so let's do a quick check-in. And so I got a quote for you guys real quick to start off with. The level 10 meeting agenda, which is what we're going to be looking at, is the moment of truth, right? This is the moment of truth. It's designed to keep your leadership team focused on what matters most on a weekly basis. Okay, so I love, love, love that quote. It's taken from the book Traction by Gino Wickman, which is where we're getting a lot of these concepts from. So why don't we just take, let's take maybe 2 minutes to think. You can type it in the chat. I would love to see it as well as hear it. What are the 3 uniques for your company? What are the 3 things, Mark, that make your company unique, different, and better? Okay. What's one personal win, Adam, and then one professional win you had the past 2 weeks? And then finally, what's the #1 outcome that you want from today, right? In the next 45 minutes, Adam, Mark, what is the #1 thing that you want to get out of today? So that way I can customize today's presentation to meet you where you're at. So guys, again, 2 minutes, go ahead and type in your answers, and then I would love for you to share your answers with the group. Hopefully you guys are typing your answers in the chat. When you're ready to share, I'd love to hear from each of y'all in terms of, the 3 uniques for your company, your personal, professional, and then 1 outcome. Do y'all need more time, or are you guys ready to share?
I need a couple more minutes.
Okay. Yeah, take your time. Take your time. We want to connect. We want to connect and make sure this is a safe place where we are connecting, collaborating with each other. Let's make sure we're focused on the highest and best use of our time today.
I just dropped some notes in the chat.
Great. Mark, why don't you go ahead and just take yourself off of mute. Again, if you can, go ahead and share your answers with us. And yeah, let's go ahead and start with you first.
Okay. So, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Would love to see you if that's possible.
Yeah, I can do it. Let's see if this thing works. Ah, there
you are, man. Happy Friday.
Hi. Happy Friday. Let's see. So 3 unique items. So for the business that I've been kind of focused on, which is kind of a fractional executive service for technical startup founders. One of the things that I think makes it kind of unique is this collaborative model of pulling together fractionals that have different skill sets versus just kind of focusing on, fractional CMO only, fractional CFO only. I see a lot of other folks in the space kind of pick one area and really just focus on offering that. I'm trying to sort of blend the different skills and have more of a team of experienced fractionals that you can draw upon. The second one is kind of the cost effectiveness versus full-time hires. I'm not sure that's a unique differentiator for the firm, but sort of fractional versus full-time. There's some cost benefits to getting a more senior person who can advise you for a fraction of the cost of what it would cost to recruit, a bunch of senior full-time folks if you're kind of trying to watch your burn rate. And then the third differentiator is just the folks that I've worked with have a pretty broad experience in multiple industries. And so I found that to be kind of a differentiator, is that we don't just do, tech or software exclusively for one vertical, but the team has some experience working across fintech, e-commerce, mobile apps, etc. And so we're kind of covering a couple different industries there that we can kind of tap into some industry expertise. For the one personal one, I put finding some quiet time to focus on actually getting stuff done. For the professional one, I put just kind of confirming market demand for such a service. I'm seeing, at least from some LinkedIn posts and sort of the competition out there, that there seems to be increasing demand for sort of fractional executive consultants. So that's sort of a good confirmation signal that I found. And then the number one outcome for the webinar today, really maybe just getting some tips on, the motivation to continue completing a task versus task switching back and forth between to-do list items.
Okay.
That for me is one of the challenges of just, your to-do list is pretty long, and if you get stuck or bored, there's a tendency for me to want to jump over to a new one. And I kind of would be interested to hear if there's some tips on kind of like keeping the meeting focused, but also keeping your to-do list focused and sort of knocking stuff out completely before just sort of spinning your wheels, bouncing back and forth.
Okay, we are definitely going to talk about that. So when I give you a chance to bring up questions and answers, definitely throw that in. We're gonna hit the to-do list pretty hard today. Okay, great. Adam, were you done? Did you want to take yourself? There you are.
Yep, all set, ready to go. So number one is I offer unique insights for my clients' businesses from years of working in a bunch of different verticals. So I just take all of my knowledge and cram it into one tidy package and offer my services that way.
Great.
I offer low-cost subscription models with no contracts, and I have a deep bench in terms of networking and resources.
Beautiful.
Personally, I started working with a new company last week, and they have high hopes for me professionally, so that's good news. And today I just want to find more ways to stay focused.
Yes, awesome. And we're definitely going to be hitting the focus button multiple times. Okay. There's been a theme the past 2 webinars. We've been hammering the focus button. So Mark, I'd encourage you to go back and look at those. If you look at the chat, they're actually the former ones were in the YouTube. They're up there on YouTube. So thanks for sharing that. And Mark, thanks again for just going first. I really appreciate that. Quickly, just for me, educate, motivate, empower. So I'm a business coach. I'm a facilitator. I'm a teacher. And so what I do is I educate people. I teach them the basics of EOS, an operating system for running a business. And I'm all about motivation. That's understanding the why. So Adam and Mark, it's getting down to like, what is your true why? What motivates you, and helping you tap into that yourself. And then the ultimate goal is to empower the business owners I work with to say, hey, you guys are founders. Let's make sure you guys are running really, really good meetings and give you the tool set, the skill set, and the mindset to be empowered. So on a personal note, I had really good quality family time. I call it Dad Day. So I got 3 young kids. Saturday and Sunday, it was awesome. And then professionally, I'm reading this book. I don't know if you guys have heard of emotional intelligence in terms of the book EQ 2.0, phenomenal book. It's a little bit old school, but it goes through some really practical, again, tool sets, mindsets, and skill sets in terms of growing your emotional intelligence, being aware of what's going on with yourself and how to have self-control, and then managing that awareness in such a way that you're helping lead others. And then finally, my outcome today is just to serve y'all. So I really like slowing down to make sure we're not just here to go through the motions, but we're really checking in with each other. So great job, guys. Let's go into the next part of our today's meeting, which is going to be a question. Okay, so I again, take yourself off of mute here. I want you to describe the best meeting you've ever been a part of. Just throw out a couple words. What's the best meeting you've ever been a part of?
Inspiring.
Good.
Educational.
Okay. Yeah. Great. What else?
Maybe the ones that are a little more interactive and collaborative versus, the highest ranking person in the company kind of just talking for the entire meeting.
Yes. So collaborative, it's interactive, right? So for me personally, I like meetings that are structured. They're very structured and everybody knows what's expected, right? It's just like it's super, super simple and clear. Those would be the words I would use. So let's ask the second part of the question. What's the worst part of the meeting you've ever been a part of? Adam, what makes a meeting bad? It's just like, this was a waste of my time.
Meetings that should be emails.
Yes, please preach, man. What else?
Oh, geez.
Well, this isn't more startup row. Maybe it's more, previous big company meetings. But, when you sort of have the, manager trying to get team inputs and sort of editing a document in real time, and you're all just kind of sitting there watching one person navigate Excel or Word, and you're like, wow, this is an expensive meeting.
Yeah. So inefficient use of people's time, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's like, how much is everybody's hourly rate worth? And if you get all those people and add it up, it's like, that's a lot of money so we better make sure this meeting makes sense. So a well-run meeting is the moment of truth of accountability and organization. And so if you feel like your organization is wasting time, stop doing the meetings, right? Let's change. Maybe we need to change how we do the meetings to make sure that accountability, alignment, and execution on the most important priorities are happening. So the context here, I just want to paint the context. What are we talking about? We're talking about how to get strong on 6 different areas of your business. You can think of these as buckets, right? We call them key components. And there's 6 of them, and we've kind of been looking at different ones. We hit a little bit on traction in the first week. We did data last time. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into traction, specifically that second discipline. and that's meeting pulse. So right now, both of you, I want you just to put your fingers on your pulse. You can go here or you can go here on the pulse. Just try it real quick. You can immediately tell physiologically how your body is doing, right? Physically and so that's what you're doing. You want an immediate pulse. How is my business doing? Where are we at? That's why we call it the meeting pulse. And so the context here is that when you think about rocks, that's the 90-day world. Mark, we talked about that in depth last time, creating focus for 90 days. So now I want you to shrink the world into not just 90 days, but weekly, 7-day. Create yourself a 7-day world. We call it the weekly world. And what you're trying to do is say, how can we get focus for the next 60 days, or sorry, the next 90 days, and then also the next 7 days. So this is the moment of truth. If you get nothing else from today, this is what it's all about. Focus plus discipline equals execution. So the meeting pulse is the moment of truth of accountability. You're injecting accountability, you're protecting accountability into the culture of your organization. And so again, it's not about having wasteful meetings, it's well-run meetings. So let's take a big deep dive at this. Here's what a meeting pulse could look like. And so I want you to think about this from your perspective. This is you with your business. Who's read the book E-Myth by Michael Gerber? It's a phenomenal book, okay? And here, I'm going to give you a summary of the book in one sentence. Take time to work on the business, not just be stuck working in the business. It's the difference between working on the business versus working in the business. So Mark, here's what this looks like. Once a year, you take a leadership retreat. You and all of your leaders, if it's just you, guess what? It's just you, okay? You take time to focus working on the business. You develop a strategic 1-year plan. You come up with some goals for that 1-year plan. You start to develop what are the most important issues for each quarter, and you start to get really clear on your priorities for the next quarter, the next 90 days. You start to work on the business. You do it for we take 2 days. In the EOS world, we take 2 full days at the end of the year. You could do it in the middle of June. It doesn't matter. It's just, what is that 2-day cadence? You do it once per year. And then Adam, every 90 days, you're slowing down to speed up. It's like, imagine you're driving your car and you're in a Corvette and you're going through the mountains and you're flying on the highway. All of a sudden you hit a fog. Do you just continue to drive fast? No, you slow down. It's dangerous. You slow down because you're not clear. Every 90 days we hit a fog. Has this happened to you? You just kind of feel like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. Every 90 days, it's human psychology. We hit a fog, Adam. And so what do we need to do, Mark? Every 90 days, we need to get clear, get focused, get recentered, re-energized, refocused, and re-enter the next quarter with laser focus on the right priorities. Are you guys with me? Nod your heads if you're with me on this model here. So the last question, and what we're going to do a deep dive on today is, well, Charlie, what do you do in between? Mark, you're thinking, what do we do in between the 90 days? That's where you have a level 10 meeting. So this is a meeting that starts on time, it ends on time. It's the same day at the same time, and you follow a very specific agenda. The agenda is extremely efficient and it's effective. Efficiency is about doing things right. Do things right? Let's be efficient. But effectiveness is doing the right things. So you're making sure every single week, Mark, you're having a meeting with yourself. It's a meeting with yourself to do what? You're hitting timeout. You're hitting timeout to work on the business. Again, I referenced the book, Michael Gerber's book, E-Myth. You're taking time to slow down so that you can speed up for that week. You do it every single week for 12 weeks in a row. And then what do you know? You're back at the next quarterly, that offsite. Give me a thumbs up and nod your heads if y'all with me on this model. This is the discipline of meeting pulse, okay? So what is a level 10 meeting? I want to start with this. This is a phenomenal quote. There's a great book out there called Death by Meeting, Patrick Lencioni. He gets quoted in the book Traction by Gino Wickman, and he basically says this. I'll paraphrase it. If you feel like meetings are a waste of time, and you're like, I hate doing meetings. You're in management. You're a leader of the company. I hate meetings. I just wish I could stop doing meetings because I need to be focused on my job. Guess what? That's like a surgeon saying, if I just didn't have to do surgery, I could do my job. Being a great leader, a great manager, means you're meeting with your people to make sure they're aligned, they're accountable, and they're executing on the right priorities. It is part of your job. So a level 10 meeting is a weekly meeting for your leadership team. And eventually, I want you to think about this. Let's think about like a 100-person size organization. The leadership team, the top 5 people at the top, Mark, they should be doing a weekly meeting. But also each of the departments should be doing a weekly level 10 meeting. It doesn't have to be necessarily 90 minutes. The level 10 meeting for the leadership team, yes, 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes to focus. I'm going to get into the agenda here in a second. But maybe the sales team, you only need 60 minutes. And the marketing team, you guys only need 30 minutes. So you get to establish what's the right cadence for your department. And again, what are the 5 marks? This is how you could truly measure. Hey, is this truly a level 10 meeting? Not a level 6, not a level 5. I want a level 10 meeting, Adam. It starts on time, it ends on time. Same day, same time, and you follow the agenda ruthlessly. That's what makes it a level 10, okay? Again, nod your heads if you're with me on the concept of a level 10 meeting. This is all background. This is all looking at the what. So let's understand a little bit about the why. Why does this matter? Mark, if there's one specific reason, it's to try to get alignment to increase accountability and execution. You're trying to go from chaos to alignment. Have you ever been part of an organization where it looks like the arrows are pointed in different directions? Yeah, all of us have, right? Have you ever, like let's go back to sports. Have you ever been on a team, any type of team, where you feel like people are just not on the same page? Has that ever happened, Mark? Adam, have you been on one? How frustrating was that?
Very.
Very frustrating, right? And then let's think about it, Mark. Have you ever been a part of the team where it looks more like the diagram on the right? Everybody's rowing in the same direction. What were the benefits of that, Mark?
Kind of the common goal that everyone's aware of.
Everybody's got a common goal, right? You guys are rowing in the same direction. So having really solid meetings in place for your company creates the following outcomes. I want you to think about this. Your increased communication. So Adam, think about the best team you've ever been a part of. The best team. You guys were probably communicating pretty well, right? Think about the accountability and alignment, Mark. Just like you said, we're on the same page. We're getting on the same page and we're staying on the same page. That's probably one of the marks of a great team, right? Is you guys are on the same page. You're increasing team health. So there's a great book out there by Patrick Lencioni, and he talks about, it's called The Advantage. And it's ultimately looking at healthy versus smart. Smart is being efficient and effective, right? It's all that kind of stuff. We need the right technology. We need the right skills. But healthy is the emotional intelligence side. Healthy is saying, hey, let's be open and honest, open to learning and hearing from each other. Let's be honest. Mark, for the greater good of the company, you got to step it up, man, for the greater good. That's honest. That takes vulnerable. Leadership is about vulnerability-based trust. So it's not just about being smart, it's about being healthy. And then finally, you're increasing the right results. Everyone will get more of the right things done, and the time you spend together will actually save you time. So here's the key. I'm in favor of less meetings, not more. And having one phenomenal, amazing level 10 meeting a week, that's going to save you hours, countless of wasted hours. Sometimes you don't need to have these meetings. They need to be an email, right, Adam? So let's just say, but there's other things that you don't need one-on-one interaction. Let's save all these one-on-one interactions. Just bring it up in the level 10 meeting. There's a reason that we have this meeting. It's a standing meeting every single week. And guess what? We keep it for 90 minutes. But if you get done early, now you got margin in your week. We don't go over, but you can always go under. So this is why this matters. I want you guys to think about this. How do most people live in the 90-day world by procrastination? And so what ends up happening is you actually are doing this. You're setting rocks. These are 90-day priorities. And then you procrastinate until like day 80. And then you're rushing. What would it look like if you had a level 10 meeting? What would that force you to do? It would force you to have spikes of accountability. And what's the dream, Mark? What's the dream is to actually say, we don't just want that. We actually want execution curve. We want to be able to say, how do we start so strong this quarter? We're going to start so strong that we're going to finish even stronger. We're executing. We're not procrastinating. That's the key with the meeting pulse. So what's the whole point? Think about it. I want you guys to even think about, why do we meet? And I want to ask that question to you. Why? Why are we meeting? with your staff? Why do you think meetings even exist?
To make sure everybody's on the same page.
Same page. But can't you just, you can just send out a Slack message or an email, right? So why physically have to meet in person or do it virtual? Why? Mark, again, I'm just trying to stir up some discussion here. Why should we do meetings? Why do you think? Maybe we shouldn't do any meetings, right? What do you think?
The better leaders I've worked with kind of have those meetings to say, hey, is there anything you need help with, that's blocking you that they can help with? And so, it's sometimes a great opportunity to, pull in some of the executive leadership team to maybe assist or move something forward to get you unblocked so you can keep making progress. I found those types of sync up meetings to be pretty helpful.
Wow. Wow. Bingo. That's exactly right. And to your point too, Adam, it's alignment and accountability. It's allowing people to start solving problems. So here's something that I want to just really focus on. The number one, in my opinion, the number one reason you're meeting is to solve the most important issues. And if you don't like the word issue, think just like you said, Mark, it's a challenge, or maybe it's an opportunity. Maybe it's some sort of a problem that we need to get on the same page with, going back to Adam's word. We need to solve this issue at the root level, not the fruit. And we're not talking about surface. We're talking about the deep heart level root issue, what's really going on. And here's a really important phrase, Mark. I said it earlier, for the greater good. Mark, for the greater good, you are not following through on what you said you were going to follow through. What's happening? Let's talk about that. I'm with you. It's not me versus you. I'm not attacking you. My hand is around your shoulder and we're looking together at the problem. We're attacking the problem, not the person. And so the key, Adam, is you're solving it at the root level one time for the greater good. How do you actually do that? How do you actually solve issues? When you get a bunch of people in a room, let's just imagine it. You've all been a part of a meeting where the meeting starts and everybody immediately does what? They go straight to discussion. All right, guys, we're here today and we need to solve an issue. So let's just start having a quick discussion. And they just go right to discussion, Mark. And next thing you know, it's been like 30 minutes, maybe even an hour. And what ends up happening, Mark, in a typical meeting, everybody leaves the meeting and they're like, did we really solve anything? Was there a clear, let's go to your to-dos. Are people walking out of the meeting focused on what to do in the next 7 days? No, you just had a bunch of discussion. And sometimes, Adam, think about it. What were we even talking about? I kind of was like going on these rabbit holes. We're just like all over the place. So I want you to think about this. What would it look like instead? What would it look like instead to do what? Let's identify the root issue. And here's a great way to do that. Ask why 5 times. It's root cause analysis. Okay. Ask why 5 times. So right now, I want you guys, we're going to do this. Give me an issue that you've been struggling with. Just any challenge. Could be big, small, tiny, anything in your business. We're going to do it right now. Go.
Getting people to call me back.
Okay. Getting people to call you back. So instead of saying, okay, let's have a discussion. Okay. And let's start talking about it. Let's do the root cause analysis, which is to ask why 5 times. And we're just going to focus on identify what's the root issue. So why are people struggling to call you back?
I don't know what their schedule is.
Okay. Why else?
So, trying to think. I don't know what they're like, what they're struggling with. So schedule, struggle.
Okay. And why don't you know their schedule or what they're struggling with?
Because they're not calling me back. It's a secular thing.
Okay. And what do you think is behind that? Why, for example, are they still not calling you back?
Could be any number of things. So perhaps hmm.
Maybe schedule conflict, where you're playing schedule chicken and you're kind of going back and forth like, hey, when's a good time to follow up? I mean, I've definitely had those back and forths where it's like, gosh, it's kind of hard to get a meeting on the calendar with someone, even if they do, genuinely want to meet up.
Or
Yeah, exactly.
I'm even thinking maybe they're not prioritizing it in their mind as much as you are prioritizing it,
Oh yeah, obviously.
right? So why do you think that's happening?
Conflicting priorities.
Mm-hmm. Conflicting priorities. Why do you think, Adam?
Um, hmm. I don't know. There's might be something that it's inside their business structure that might have uh, come up that they're it's essentially putting out fires. I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay. Firefighting. So notice we just asked why 5 times. We got to a lot of different issues, right? So we still probably aren't at the root issue of all of this, right? And maybe the root issue is you're not as high of a priority for them. And so that's the reason maybe they're not calling. So then it would be, let's move to discussion. What could you do to move up on their priority list? Because again, if they truly have it as a priority, they're going to pick up the phone and call you back, or they're going to respond with the email. They're going to clear out their schedule because guess what? They want to connect with you. You are a priority. So maybe that's the root issue. We don't know. But notice we're just trying to have a discussion now because we've identified what the root issue potentially could be. So what do you think? What would be a couple ideas? And Mark, chime in, help here if you can.
I'd say, maybe just as relates to maybe founding businesses and startups, they have that distinguish between, is your product or service a painkiller or a vitamin, right? And so vitamins are good for you, but everyone's like, I can put that off. It's not a priority. Painkiller is like, oh my God, I have a
Yeah.
migraine right
Yeah.
now. The painkiller is going to be like instant relief for whatever the problem is that they're running into. And so I've just heard that analogy a couple times where,
That's
if
great.
you can try to have your service more in it's a painkiller type solution versus a vitamin or supplement, there you might get that better response rate,
Okay.
faster response time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So talking about the pain, addressing the pain. Maybe if you tapped into the pain, they would respond faster than maybe changing up your marketing and your messaging and how you're doing it. What else, Adam? What are a couple other ideas here?
Well, I know the one person that I'm waiting for a call back from is, they have a busy schedule, like travel. They hired a new office manager, so there's training that needs to be involved there. So there's other priorities that are ahead of me, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And at what point do you become a nudge by asking if you want to call back? And what point do you become a doormat where it's you don't do any follow-up because you know that they're busy. So I mean, there's a fine line between thoughtful follow-up and being a pain in the butt.
Yeah. So this is helpful, right? This is helpful. At some point, it's either continue to be thoughtful in your follow-up, and I'm even brainstorming with you. Write them a thank you note, write them an encouragement note. A handwritten note would get their attention. How can you become top of mind? Using a different channel. Maybe it's not just email, but it's a phone call with a voicemail and a text message follow up. That seems to work really well in my line of work. Or what if you did a voice text message? It's like a voicemail, but it's directly through text. Or what if you did something on LinkedIn or some other way to social media? It's like finding a way to get top of mind. And then at the end of the day, what if it's just, hey, you did your best to follow up, put them in your pipeline, you'll touch base again in 90 days, and you move on. It's not the highest and best use of your time, right? So what we're talking about here is a discussion about how do you solve this root issue of getting people to follow up with you. So let's move to solve. We've talked about a bunch of ideas. All three of us had a couple ideas. So Adam, it's your problem, it's your issue. So how do you want to solve it in the next 7 days? What would be like an action item you could create right now?
I mean, taking cues from what you had said is, just follow up with a voice memo would probably be the best bet. Spoken word goes a lot further than written word.
Totally.
For the simple fact that all they have to do is just sit there and listen. I say it. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. There is one skill set that females have that males do not, and that is they be able to their ability to multitask. So they can actually physically do two things at once, which is for guys, we have a one-track mind. So whatever's in front of us is what we're focusing on, and if somebody says something and we're in the middle of something, it's going to go right on through.
Yes.
And a few minutes later, you're going to be like, okay, what did you say again? I'm sorry.
Every night it happens with me and my wife. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I was doing the dishes. I was zoned out, right?
Exactly.
I got to focus. I love it. I love it. Yes.
I know,
yes.
exactly.
You're thinking the same thing, right?
Yeah. I can't hear you because I'm doing dishes.
So here's the key. Okay. Let's go back to what we're doing. We're just trying to say how powerful that was like 5 minutes. How powerful would it be to do that with your peers on a weekly basis? And you say, we're going to solve the most important issues every week at the root level. Okay. And I just want to give 2 book recommendations real quick related to the topic. So Pick Up the Phone and Sell is a phenomenal book, and it has a lot of research base in it. I love it because it's like facts over feelings, but it basically talks about the same thing. A spoken word is going to be more effective and powerful than a written word. So an email, okay, but if you pick up the phone and 90% of the time you're going to leave a voicemail and send a text message, you'll probably get one. And another one, I'm not done with it, but it's been phenomenal, is Fanatical Prospecting, and it's kind of the same concept. It's like that's the name of the game, guys. Like we must follow up. We must be consistent. And then at some point, you have to just move on because the follow-up is not working. And so there's only so many follow-ups that you can do. And you have to determine what that is and what the case is for you. But here's the key. You cannot solve every issue. So let's say you had an issues list, Mark. Every week you had an issues list. These are the most important issues I need to solve. And so you get with your team every single week and you're saying, team, we don't have 5 hours. We only have like 20, 25 minutes, whatever. We have to focus. So what's the top 3? Let's just keep it simple. Top 3. You prioritize. Do not start at the top. You just prioritize. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Let's prioritize and organize. What are the top 3 issues that we have to solve today, this week, for the greater good? And then, Mark, let's focus on number 1. So you go to identify, discuss, solve, IDS. It's an issues solving track. And so here's what it is. Let's identify the root issue. You ask why 5 times. You have a discussion. And then how did we end our discussion that we just had with Adam? How did we end it? Did you see how I kind of snuck it in? I said, Adam, what are you going to do in the next 7 days? So if the 3 of us were on a team, next week on Friday, we would meet again and we would get to look at Adam and say, hey, Adam, did you start doing voice memos? Because last week you said you were going to do it. That's a to-do. So Mark, when you hear a to-do is a 7-day action item. And it means I'm going to get my to-dos to done. That's the key. So every week you're creating a to-do list based on your issues. And then you're checking, the next week you're checking to see if you did those or not. That's how you create accountability. And then once you get done, you solve it. Hopefully, Adam, it goes away forever. And then you move on to the next issue and you identify, discuss, solve. So this is just a quick pro tip. Sometimes when you start on the issue, you want to think, whose issue is it? Who am I talking to? What type of issue is it? Is it an alignment? This is just a quick alignment thing. Or no, this is an announcement. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Or maybe it's a brainstorm, right? Like we were kind of doing a brainstorm, but it was also kind of a problem, right? Or maybe it's an opportunity to grab, or it's a permission. And then you just go to the root issue. What's the root issue? If you can say it in one sentence, you know the root issue. So there's a phenomenal way. And so I just got a quick question for you guys. Again, what's the cost of having fantastic internal meetings for you and your team and your company? Okay, what do you guys think? What would it cost you in terms of the positives? What's the opportunity cost of having an amazing meeting? One meeting that's phenomenal. It's fantastic for you and your team and your company. What do you guys think? Just shout it out.
Tighter teamwork.
Teamwork, right? It's tighter teamwork. Good. What else, Mark?
Fewer midweek check-in meetings.
Yeah, you don't need all these waste of time meetings. Just bring it up in our one meeting, okay? And then I want you to think about sloppy, ineffective meetings. What is it costing you here? What's the negative here? If we don't change, we're talking about being efficient and effective. So what happens if you just keep doing what the things that you're doing? Let's say you guys have level 6 meetings instead of level 10. They're level 6s. What would you say? What's it costing you here?
Apathy.
Yeah, people don't care. They're just going through the motions. Mark?
Time sink.
Yeah, again, all these waste of time, middle of the week meetings, it's talking about getting you out of flow. So my last question, I got a question that's a little difficult, open and honest, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing with your meetings? How are you doing with your internal weekly meetings? Scale 1 to 10, open and honest. I'll go first. I'm probably about an 8, and there's a couple things I need to do to get better. Specifically, the preparation, the meeting before the meeting. Do you want to have a great meeting? You need to be prepared going into the meeting. So there's an opportunity for me to get better, and I meet with my assistant. We're a team of 2, me and my assistant. What about you guys? Where are you guys at? What number would you be at, and how could you get better maybe?
I mean, it's just me, so last week I didn't do anything, so I had a level 0.
Level 0. So really, what would it look like for you to even start moving up to like a level 1, level 2, right? Because even with you, I want you to imagine, Adam, if you could clone yourself, and there's like 5 of you, because they're all up in your head. So you actually are having a meeting with yourself, like every day, every minute, you're talking to yourself. Right. So what would it look like to just treat this as if you could clone yourself? How would you then run the meeting, right? So what might that look like for you? How could you get better this week, perhaps?
For me, it would be just sorting out all of the I have a new schedule, so working around that, shifting everything around. Would be priority number 1. Number 2 would be, just making sure that, that my time is being used wisely throughout the entire day, and just making sure that I'm present at each and every, function that I need to be at.
Yeah. So it's like, imagine whether it's on Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, or maybe it's the first thing you do on Monday. That's when I do mine, beginning of the day on Monday. You're starting the week off focused on the most important priorities. When are you going to do these meetings, and you got client follow-up? What's your schedule? And you're just making sure you're going to be present and prepared. Like, that would be phenomenal. And you just do it every week, right? So Mark, what about you?
Let's see. So if I am doing the meetings, like you said, meeting of 1, kind of carving out a dedicated time to do that will be a challenge. So, kind of the consistency of, okay, this time, this day of the week, I think would be one challenge. And then the other is, maybe you've got some thoughts on this, but, I agree on sort of the concept of, at the beginning of the week, you're like, here's my most important tasks for the week.
Yep.
And, you have your priority, but then like in startup world, new stuff comes
Yep.
in midweek and you're
You
like,
got
oh
to
God,
adapt, right? Adapt and pivot. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
you're rearranging your priority list, on Tuesday or Wednesday because you
Yeah.
got new information, new client request, whatever it is. And so you're kind of going, yeah, that was the original plan, but new info, new priority, or reprioritize.
Dude,
Um, that's
totally.
where potentially that midweek check-in, as needed, might be
Yeah.
helpful if you're trying to sort of get that, getting things done sort of
Yes. Yes.
process.
So I got a question for you. Being adaptable is important, correct? In the startup world, especially in early startup. I mean, first couple of years, you got to be able to adapt and pivot fast, right? That's important, right? So would
Sure.
you have the ability to pivot faster or slower if you had a consistent weekly level 10 meeting versus, oh, well, I just don't do any type of meetings? Which one of the disciplines would give you the ability to pivot faster and adapt with higher precision? Because it's not just switching to a different task, it's switching to the most important task, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? You're doing that at the beginning of the week. You're saying, this is the most important things I need to focus on. So what do you think? Would it be slower or faster if you had that level 10 meeting discipline in place?
Yeah, I think if you had the consistency, um, to, do like your planning, I don't know, for example, like Sunday evening. I mean, if it's solo, right? Solo practice versus you need a team meeting, then maybe, Monday morning's a better time to have that sort of sync up.
Yep.
Um, but I think having that consistent meeting time and
Yes.
schedule,
Yeah.
at least lets you adjust because, like you said, the only constant is stuff changing as you're
Yes.
kind of in
Yes.
early days of figuring out, your product market fit.
Yeah. And maybe Mark, you need to try to implement, like we have a 90-minute level 10 meeting on Mondays. We're going to do like a 45-minute, 30-minute sync up meeting, an alignment meeting in the middle of the week, just to make sure we're on the same page. And then at the end of the week on Friday, we're just going to meet for 15 minutes one more time, three touch points. But you're basically saying that way we're always on the same page, but we're constantly focused on the right priorities. Again, one of the most important leadership qualities is to say, I'm going to prioritize my limited, precious time. Okay. Chapter 1 of one of the best books written on management by Peter Drucker, one of the fathers of modern management, The Effective Executive. Chapter 1, Know Thy Time. High performance leaders and executives and founders are ruthless about prioritizing and protecting their time because it's the most precious commodity we have. You can't get it back. And it's fixed, but your energy can flex. So it's like, how do we maximize what we're focused on? Okay. And so let's go into the how to do the meeting, and then we'll finish with a quick checkout. Okay. So here's how you run a level 10 meeting. By the way, I'm going to put a link here in the chat, but I did a 18-minute training video on this. I'm going to go over this pretty quickly. If you want more details, definitely check that out. Adam, I'll give that to you so you can share it with others as well.
Thank
You
you.
start off with a quick, like how did we start today, Mark? A quick check-in. Hey, personal and professional, how are you doing? So it's psychologically, you're just switching from working in the business. Let's go back to what we started with. Michael Gerber, the E-Myth. You're psychologically switching from working in the business to now working on the business. It's a quick check-in. Even if it's just you and yourself, you're just kind of resetting your mind. What am I about to go do for the next 90 minutes? And then you do a scorecard. If you're not sure what that is, go back to our previous webinar. You're looking at your weekly metrics, your KPIs, your dashboard, flash report. You're saying, how did I do last week? You have 5 to 15 numbers that you're trying to get on track every week. And then you go to your rock review. Again, go back to 4 weeks ago to our previous webinar. A rock is a 90-day priority. So Mark, you're saying, am I on track? Let's say you had 3 rocks to focus on for the next 90 days, the 3 most important priorities. Okay. Are you on track or off track? And then you go to customer employee headlines. So again, if we're thinking about a 100 person size company, there's a bunch of customers. Is there anything going on with our customers that we need to be aware of? Or what about our 100 employees internally? If it's just you, then you have to say, is there anything that I need to say? Let's say you have 5 customers, Mark. Is there anything I need to be aware of with my 5 most important customers? And then what about myself, my thoughts? Maybe you want to start hiring a virtual assistant. So it's just you and that virtual assistant. Again, that's a great team, a team of 2. is better than a team of one. And so let's work together. And so you're saying, is there anything that we need to be on the same page on, me and my assistant? And then, Mark, here's where it shows up, okay? The to-do review. You do a to-do review. So last week, we go to Adam. Last week, Adam, you said that you were going to get better at follow-up, and you said you were going to start doing voice memos. Did you do it? And we all of us look at Adam, and he's like, yep, I did it. And it's like, awesome, we're high-fiving. Great. What about you, Mark? Did you do your 7-day action item? A to-do is a 7-day action item. The goal is to get 90% of your to-dos to done. Notice how long that took. 25 minutes. It's fast. Well, I can get this done in probably 10 minutes. It's quick. It's fast. And then you drop it down. If there's any issues, you drop it down. So Adam, what do you spend? How do you spend your time? How do you invest your time for the rest of the meeting? It's IDS. You do what we just did earlier. You identify, discuss, and solve. And then you must end the meeting on time. So you do a quick 5-minute recap. What are the 3 to-dos? Let's say we solve 3 issues, so we have 3 to-dos. Are there any cascading messages we need to communicate out to the rest of the team? And then finally, how would you rate the meeting? Was it a level 10? Like Mark, was it truly a level 10? Did it start on time? Did it end on time? Was it the same day at the same time? How did we do with following this agenda? And you're like, it was like a level 6, you know? It was a level 6. Okay, great, Mark. How can we make it a level 10 next week? What do you think? And Adam, what would you say? We're giving feedback to each other. Are you guys with me? So this is how to do a level 10 meeting. I know that was fast. Again, I've done a whole YouTube series on this, but I really want to paint the context of what exactly is a level 10 meeting. So I have a couple checkout questions for you guys, but these are what's coming up next. Adam, correct me if I got my dates wrong, but Friday, October 31st, it's Halloween, okay? Clarifying organizational accountability. So we're going to look at how do you put the right people in the right seats, ready for you guys, excited for that. And then we're going to be looking on November 7th, the fastest way to generate traction in your business. So we're going to look at the combination of those 3. So I have a great webinar coming up then. If you guys are interested at all in doing a level 10 meeting and you don't know where to start, you can use the software 90.io. It's a free QR code. You can get a free 30-day trial. And if you get stuck, I would love to help you. Film yourself doing a level 10 meeting and send it to me. I will give you detailed, thorough feedback. And if you need help actually doing it, right? Maybe you, again, Mark, you're by yourself and you just want somebody to kind of sit in and help you. We could easily do it together, okay? But you're not alone. That's my key. I want to encourage y'all. Y'all are not alone. So I got 3 quick questions for you, Adam. Same ones I asked last time. What did you learn about yourself today? What's the one action step? One action step you can take in the next 7 days. And then finally, Mark, what was your key takeaway? So these are our last 3 questions. Who wants to share?
Let's see. What did I learn about myself today? That I need to be consistent. One action step, voice memos. And then what is the key takeaway from today? Work the plan. Don't let the plan work you.
Yeah, plan the work and then work the plan. Yeah, work the plan. Okay, Mark, you get the last word today, brother.
Okay, so one thing I learned about today, probably kind of echoing what Adam was saying, setting sort of a consistent time to do the planning for the week and kind of making that a habit. For the action, what is your one action step to focus on in the next 7 days? Probably to determine a time and day to have that weekly planning meeting kind of consistently. Should be on my to-do list.
There you go. Yep.
And then the key takeaway from today, I think there's a lot of good suggestions from the takeaway. I think the consistency in sort of planning it and then following through on the plan seems to be kind of one of the main themes. And so I think just being able to kind of plan out what you're going to do and then sort of consistently kind of try to get those things done.
Totally.
Is kind of a helpful approach. I found, GTD, getting things done, their folder
David
system
Allen.
and the next steps, a little too formulaic and process driven.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think there's some good insights like, hey,
Yeah.
what's the next step on this big rock to move it
Yep.
forward a little bit, right? Like that
Yeah.
thought process, I think helps you sometimes if it's just you having a meeting to sort of troubleshoot, gosh, there's 100 things to launch this new trade show booth, but what's the first next step that I
Yeah.
need to sort of focus on?
Yeah. That's a great question. What's the next? And the next step is generally like when we say 7-day action item, a to do, that's generally what it is. Well, hey,
Okay.
gentlemen, I hope that you guys have an amazing weekend. Looking forward to seeing y'all in 2 weeks. Again, if you're watching this and you need help, reach out to me. I would love to help you with a level 10 meeting. I can be an observer, or I can actually help you guys and join you in it. So just reach out if you want the help. May God bless y'all. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.